So I've almost completed this job, and since how someone else might have this issue, I decided to record it. So what I'm doing right now is just replacing the fuel injectors. I've replaced that one, this one, and that one, this one, and that one. Real easy job. The biggest thing about the job is actually just taking all the screws out. But these guys go back in just like you see. They just slide back in their respective ports and pop back in. But a couple of tidbits. Get yourself a little Vaseline, a little bit of Vaseline. And when you install these, let's see. When you install these, let's see, I get an old one. When you install these, you want to put a little bit of grease around the new O-ring here and a little bit around the new O-ring there. This is an old one, so it's jacked up. But you can see the newer ones got the fresh looking O-rings. Let's just focus. Fresh O-ring there, and there's a fresh one inside on this end. But yeah, just take a little bit of Vaseline, put it around this guy and around that guy. There's an O-ring here. There's an O-ring down here, right there. Put a little Vaseline around those, and there's a little clip that comes off of these O-rings. It's gonna, you'll see when you get there, it pops around the back of this guy. And what this clip does, it keeps the injector at a respectable length. It's just like a spacer, so to speak. And what it does, it stops the O-ring or the injector from being able to move up and down, because there's plenty of room in that journal for that injector to slide in and out if it wants to. But this right here keeps it from sliding in too far. And when you bolt the rail back down to the manifold, it stops the bolts stop the injectors from coming out. You know, they're bolted in, locked in place down there. So this little clip needs to go back on the new ones. It's a little plastic clip. It just kind of snaps on. Let's see if I can't show you how and hold this phone at the same time. These are the new ones. And these come without the clip. So let's see if I can't show you. Okay, I'm happy to do it. All right, so this clip snaps on this just like you see it. Snaps in, and this is a new one, so I'll be installing this one next. Snaps in. Almost had a phone disaster. Snaps in just like that. And if you have to look at this, flashlight. Okay, but I can't find one. I've got like 50 of these things, so got another one. On the back side of these, there's a little groove. And this one ain't quite snapped in, but there's a little groove right there, and it just snaps into that groove. Yeah, okay, come back out. Hold up here. Put it on this side first and see if that side snaps. Snapped, just like that. And like I said, you put a little grease around here. Put a little grease around here, preferably Vaseline, but there might be some other stuff out there. It's pretty much all the same. And this guy, just goes right back in that port. Right back in that port. Forgive me for the lighting. Could be better. But they just push it in. And like I said, what that plastic guy does right there, it keeps it a respectable length from the bottom, which would amount to what you see right there, because it hits this piece right here and it stops it from bottoming out. And of course, when you bolt this whole rail back to the manifold, it stops it from sliding this way. So what it does is keeps this injector from sliding in that way, the plastic piece does. And of course, the bolting of the rail to the manifold keeps the injector from coming out or anywhere. Really, it stops it from doing any of this with the help of that plastic piece. Anywho, I hope this helps someone. This was so easy to do. It's just a bunch of disconnecting everything. You do want to disconnect everything, though. For me, I wind up just disconnecting the coil. All 6 of them. This happened to be a 6-cylinder coil. There's a coil plug right there. Disconnected that one, that one, that one. These I didn't have to. The reason why I disconnected those, so I can have slack in all of this, so I can get that rail out of there. So anyway, but mostly, and a couple of plugs here had to be disconnected, but just remember to reconnect everything you disconnected and you know, snap everything back in. Like I said, the hardest part of this job, believe it or not, is pulling that out. When you pull one of these guys out, what you're gonna need to do is put a little, what I had to do, you might have a better solution, don't know. But what I took was a little WD-40. Let's see if I can show you. I just kind of, that's the new one, put on the old one. Put a little WD-40 right there. Just put a little squirt. And then, this is going to be almost impossible with one hand. I'm going to show you basically what you're going to do. Once you put your WD-40 in it, just kind of spin it a couple times like this. I don't know how hard this is going to come out, but we'll see. One more thing. Get yourself a little fuel catcher. That's my fuel catcher. Basically, it's a cover from a spray can. Fuel catcher, because you're going to have a little fuel drip. Third thing, now that I thought about it, when you go to put the new ones back in, don't forget to get all the fuel out of there, because the grease will allow it to go in easily. But if you've got fuel in there, it's going to kind of make it a little more stiffer. It's going to dissolve the grease and it's going to make the grease ineffective. So drop all the fuel before you pop it in. Don't worry about any fuel that's way back in the back, because once you get the O-ring past the initial opening, you should be good. Anyway, pop that in, get your fuel catch, and it's probably a better idea, and I didn't, be start from the bottom, because that way in it, and if you got it, you know, orientated like I have it, you know, got this thing popped up, sitting up in the air, the rail itself, and it's going to lay back down where it was, boom, just like this, just going to drop. But if you got it up in the air like this, you start at the bottom, and maybe you, when you get that bottom one out, all the fuel will drain out, so these two won't have a fuel drain issue. But I hope this helps someone. Comment if you must. Good luck. How the keeper should look when you're done. Just like you see it, it's popped in and it's between, you know, the white piece, the little plastic piece right here. It's between the two metal guys right there. You can see it. My big fingers. The white piece is between that guy and this guy. And this is the keeper, and it just slides right down. And what that does too, other than keep it, it makes sure that when you put these things back in, the orientation of the plug and the connector, which happens to be this one for that one, is gonna line up just right. And so I guess it's not completely overkill. So it will do something. It will amount to something of help, I guess you could say. Germans they're horrible over engineering, and in this case, maybe it's a good idea. Somebody might put it in where your injectors is spun around like this or something, you know, and that shouldn't be. I mean, it would probably go in like this, but the keeper won't allow it to do. And it'll probably work like this, but the keeper won't allow you to do that. So don't even worry about it. It's gonna force it when you put that keeper in, and keeper is flat back here. It's gonna force that white piece right there, right down the middle where it is, which makes the orientation of this guy be where it needs to be. Third to that, if that orientation is wrong, you gotta be careful. Make sure you put your keepers back, because if you go to try to force it down, this plastic piece where the plug plugs into might be hitting your intake manifold, and if that's the case and you force it down, you probably crack that, and you may not know it. But anyway, so don't forget to put your keepers back. Take it back. That's not German over engineering. That's a good idea. Anyway, there you go. Good luck. One more thing, keepers. This will come off eventually. You have to pop it off. Take a screwdriver. Actually, it sits in here, just like that. It's a little impossible to do it with one hand. So, but anyway, you get the gist of the orientation. Pop it, slides down in here, and what it does is a couple of grooves. Let's see if I get something to show you a little better. Okay. All right, so there's a groove right there. You can see it. There's a groove right there. Right there. And this keeper slides in on this side and on that side. Just like you see it. Just like that. And this slides in and this keeps it. This is like Mercedes extraordinaire stuff. You know, they love the overkill. Or they don't need a keeper. I don't see where there's a keeper is necessary. You've already got this guy that won't allow it to go that way. You got the bolt. When you bolt it down, it won't allow it to go nowhere. This is just extremely extra, but that's what Mercedes do. What they call over-engineer everything. So anyway, this keeper goes right back in here. The only real, I mean, I can get this one without two hands. Okay, just like that, snaps in. You wanna have the guides of that white piece. No, I can't do it with one hand. Anywho, you want to have the guides. There it is. Beautiful. Now, maybe not. Not easy with one hand. It's not easy with one hand. Okay, anyway. You can see that white piece right there is going to sit in between these two guys right here on the keeper, and it just slides in there, and it's impossible to do with one hand. So, but you know, I'm going to straighten this one up. This one's not how it should be. It should not be like what you see here, because this one I try to do one hand and just not possible. I'm gonna have to take this keeper back off and push it back down again and put it where it needs to be, where it would be down the middle of these two guides on the keeper. And then it's done. It's ready to go back down. So good luck. Okay, so another tidbit. Take your little electrical cleaner, since you're there. It's got a QD electronic cleaner, 50,000 brands probably out there, and spray all of your disconnects. I disconnected this guy. I've already sprayed all of mine. Just thought I'd show you guys. Yeah, spray a little bit. All in there. And all your connections. I sprayed it there. I sprayed some here. I sprayed some there. And all you can't see this. Let's get this light. That's better. Wow, that's crazy. Forgot about that earlier. Anyway, spray some there. I sprayed some there. I sprayed this guy. I sprayed everything that I disconnected electronically. And man, I can't believe I forgot my flashlight. Shows you how many times I use this thing for recording a movie. Anyway, I sprayed all of those. Oh, I'm sorry, all of these. That one is a lot cleaner. And one back there, a lot cleaner. Another thing I did with the vacuum cleaner is you know, where these go in, which are, one goes there, one goes there, and the third one goes back there, that other brown looking spot. These are where the injectors go. So what I did with the vacuum cleaner is sucked them out. They had a little bit of dust in there, you know. But careful about that. You don't want to be sucking a vacuum cleaner, you know, sucking in somewhere could potentially be gas in there. And your vacuum cleaner is not made to handle that kind of situation. So if there's built-up gas in there, don't do it, because if it sucks down to that vacuum cleaner through the motor, all that good stuff, who knows what might happen inside your cleaner while you vacuuming. So don't do that with a vacuum. In fact, don't worry about that one. At least not because I said it. You decide to do it. Be real careful, because there's any gas in those ports. That's one port there, one port there, and one port there. 6-cylinder, 3 on this side, 3 on the other side. If there's any gas in there, do not vacuum it out. Only thing I vacuumed was trash I could see, but if any of this gas spilled down inside there, don't vacuum. Just actually forget about what I said about that, because you know, I don't want nothing to happen to you guys. Anyway, yes, our job is done. This right here is just the brain that sits on top. Sits right here in these bolts, you know, in these little places right here, and it just pops up, kind of pried and easily, slowly, and it pops up. Same thing over here, except the bracket for this side had to come out also. The bracket kind of sits like this. Had to take this bracket out so I can get to that screw for the rest of this. Anyway, I'm gonna try to add this to the first video. I've got a couple of them out there. This is GLK350. Just happens to be the 20. This will work for probably the 2010 on up to the at least 2017, even 2020. But you know, I haven't checked, so not sure. Anyway, good luck. Comment if you must.